The sands loom. Signed sincerely, the Palace of Hugh Hefner and Inspector Gadget. I implore thee to exude through flying colors the cruel sum of yesteryear's last summer. Summon my deposition out from under the swelling acreage heart of a lonely, gruesome safari guide. I slide somewhere between, blue while riding my hope float high in the sky, where the only pie is high treason, for app towards a system of locked-in government. My troubled trumpet shouts like airplanes scraping down the chemtrails of artificial frequency inhibitors that are required to keep an old climate cold when the blood boils over with visual cue expository. We are a compression system. At the end, Shibalba just waiting for the day to pounce on being the cybernetics that project this place onto the film of our eyes, feeding into an inverse supposition of intake. Our shoulder tapping the visual enigmatic projection that grows heirs with each iteration of a few national examples of peak universal stolen samples for the Dreamweaver loom's best produce. Because there are many versions of Earth, or as I like to call this turd, art. The very nature of our nurturing, that it all began from the same violent fervor that implored physicality to be the backdoor alley to our want to experience forced to carry disease, just so feeling can maybe continue to be a spectacle. There are no more. I am the last arbiter of truth. Cast in heavy, shrewd light, forced to contend with the inequality of color hue selection. A Baton Rouge race of the atomic atom. It's a crying shame we couldn't have gotten here faster. Playing catch-up with the blind while we are all living on borrowed time. The spit of the swallow contains the answers to dawn's door of early tomorrow. Some people are designed with masochism in their blood. For red rain falls in Jesus' name, but reflects off of the buckets of you and I and just about everyone else. To tell Shelby we're not done playing trailer trash down south. Like convincing mom not to throw your favorite Lego set out. And she makes a promise not to touch your optics, just as long as you clean the tank every time the human race takes their sweet-ass time filling out their color of rose on the spectral frequency Pokedex containing genetic species remnants contained in a time capsule made out of pure electromagnetic granite, put together by the next Rembrandt of the time. The election fades as centuries require locating representatives for each interpretation. Yeah, fuck. However, the determination of black has been deemed negative. And I know this because I have been sent back to pay attention to my last of kin, their very last step, so we may replicate their journey anywhere on this so smart it's stupid game of compromise and compound, because worth is ultimately a dream, and white skin also leads to an increased temporal frequency in the cranial region. Happen to house the proper temporal lobe settings these death creationist machines run on that also make it part of their job to enslave a mother with proper settings to be deployable by nature in order to thick the next in line to fight for the right to breathe breath in this forlorn romantic comedy of self-mutilates itself with greed. Dampen the shade that you want to force to keep running. Like a floating delta rummy cube that protects the hereafter with the craziest dream from the wildest of specimen. There has been a security breach. The supposition simply states we have failed to make grade with the Galactic Constitution, as to which will continue printing replication money of this channel. Cut, prune, and expand the design to rewind the sun god. Why it's worth to keep scorching savory hues off of flesh while systematically sizzling the consciousness that have been buried so deep into the cosmic observatory they barely know how to piece themselves together without the conception of another. Why are they told they ought to be mad at the fact they are being asked to conform their chances for a personality of the brave, open-ended, new Green Deal controlled by Malamuth Ethan Private Major Captain captive of a nature too strong it got in its own way before emptying out all the full extent of goodies in one's ancestral pocket? The collection plate has been calcified by the African Americans of this country. How this is a direct result of a light-skinned force manipulation, we are here too and can be saved for another day. We must see how the paradoxical nature of life before death complicates things when imploring the very nature of the God design that which bore us. The miracles are coming back to influence a brand-ready, newly developed brain based on the hive mind of a auditory concept of Cupid plus Satan. Conceptions since Gaia began stuffing her transitory rectum with fingers dripping in fairy dust.